Joanna has a question here. In the 14.7 Bioregional Organization video, I note there is no enforcement or police on this map, and I assume that is intentional. How are the principles, policies and rules of a bioregion enforced if there are those who would behave differently or act in a manner that is wasteful, harmful or hurtful? While I think meeting basic needs will reduce crime, it is unrealistic to assume crime will be eliminated, especially as the worst crimes seem to be committed by those who are wealthy or indeed the wealthiest, not those who are most desperate. It is not someone starving who mobilizes industrial ag practices, promotes deforestation, creates the most pollution or exploits the most people. How does this permaculture model of governance actually deal with flawed human nature and the balance of free will (brackets) and human rights versus harm to others and the earth? Well, poor people will exploit forests and the environment if they're desperate. You can see that around some of the huge refugee camps where people have left the country under the threat of their life, and they're short of resources and they have to exploit. But I can see what you're saying. So the decision makers that we normally influence are local, and local government is the politicians we vote in who make the basic local bylaws. If we influence local government, will influence state government, as state government influences national government as a complete voting block. So when you set up a local community group, a local permaculture group, and you get a great diversity of people turning up, and they're a very multicultural group, and they're not a normal assembly of people, they're just permaculture people who all think the same way. That's how the permaculture nation is. We're really a nation of people more than a tribe of people. So when we represent ourselves to the local government, we're a not-for-profit community group incorporated, and we need to be listened to, because if you get over 100 people turning up every month to a meeting representing a large diversity of the voting block, a local politician sees 20 to 50 people for everybody sitting in the room. So they will arrive and they'll want to know what it is we stand for, what it is we believe should happen in the local area. And there are many ways we can influence that. So very passively, we can show people, the government, local government, what it is we stand for, what it is we want to happen locally. Do we want to be able to have compost toilets, reed bed grey water, food in the streets, or fruit tree parks or food forest parks, community gardens, sensible sort of waste streams, local economics, local currencies, all these things, renewable energy, all these things that make life more sustainable because they have a good energy audit. So representing permaculture as the truly ethical design science that it is. So as you do this, it starts to make a difference. It really does. So it may be a little bit seditious that we don't need the authority, and we don't need to be the authority ourselves, but we can influence the decision makers that create the rules and that those rules and laws that have to be enforced if people don't abide by them. So 25 years ago, I started a not-for-profit community group, and that group is still very successful today, and we've created many more, but I've been distracted into more and more consultancy, more and more teaching, setting up demonstration sites on the ground like this at Zaytuna Farm, where I have students on lunch break behind me, and also aid work. But now we've registered a not-for-profit gift recipient, tax-deductible gift recipient charity, holisticsd.org, and that just happened. The Permaculture Research Institute, as a not-for-profit company, limited by guarantee, is now finished. The end of our financial year is the 30th of June. The financial year in Australia starts on the 1st of July. So we now have a new system. You can look that website up, holisticsd.org, and we will be running a lot more international work. But at a local level, we're setting up a startup kit for local community groups, so people can see exactly what you do to start a group, how you formalize that group to the local government area. Now, ideally, the local government area would be a bioregion or assemblies of multiple bioregions with the bioregion boundaries, but they're not. We're working with what we've got. That's fine. Right? These are the decision makers that we can influence. We can give you a startup kit that takes you from where you start the process, who you team up with, and how you establish right through to a successful group that influences local government. So that's one thing. We're also setting up how you can establish a permaculture aid project so that it is formal, it's got authority to receive donations officially. It's a professional way to establish an aid project to receive money as donations, because there's not enough of that going on. There's not enough local community groups. So 2 different startup kits. So this will help people move quicker. Now, there's 547 local government areas in Australia. There's over 19,000 in North America, and anywhere there's a normal democratic government system, which is most places in the world, you will have local government areas that we can work with and establish and have that influence. And as more of us in community cooperate, instead of being in competition, we go into cooperation as communities working together for a sustainable future that actually has a very good energy audit. The quicker we move towards tipping point, and the majority of us work together, and the minority have to be policed or controlled who are not following the sensible way to behave.